Fox 32 has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing thousands of dollars.
Is there a motion to terminate Chief
Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dalton, Illinois, has once again managed to vanish, leaving the town's residents both confused and furious. This latest chapter in her controversial tenure unfolded during a special town meeting, convened specifically to confront her and demand answers regarding the growing concerns within the community. The primary issue at hand was Dalton's financial turmoil, which includes the mysterious disappearance of funds and the extravagant spending on a lavish party that reportedly drained $85,000 from the already struggling town budget. The event, featuring high-paid rappers and described by many as ostentatious and tone-deaf, sparked outrage, raising serious questions about Henyard's judgment and fiscal management during a time of mounting crisis and civic dysfunction. As citizens gathered at the meeting, the atmosphere was thick with frustration and unmet expectations. They had come prepared to confront the mayor, only to be met with her glaring absence. Faces in the crowd reflected a mix of disbelief and exhaustion as it became clear that Henyard had once again chosen to avoid accountability. Critics quickly pointed to her no-show as indicative of her troubled tenure, marked by alleged mismanagement, declining public trust, and a string of scandals that have cast a long shadow over the town. Her repeated absences from key town matters, paired with her apparent prioritization of personal ambition over public duty, have fueled growing speculation about her commitment to the role and whether she plans to fulfill her responsibilities at all. In her absence, residents aired their grievances, voicing increasing anger and frustration. They questioned where the town's money had gone, what justification there was for such lavish expenditures amidst financial despair, and most urgently, what the plan was to get Dalton back on track and prevent further collapse. What was meant to be an opportunity for accountability instead turned into an outpouring of frustration and uncertainty. Henyard's absence underscored the seriousness of the issues at hand, and left Dalton's residents more determined than ever to demand answers. As the meeting ended without word from the mayor, the anger of the citizens solidified into a resolve to hold their elusive leader accountable and begin the challenging work of restoring Dalton's integrity.
addressing things as the supervisor? There will be no comments, there will be anything, it will be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
It seems that Mayor Tiffany Henyard has been playing an extended game of hide and seek, and many residents of Dalton are now convinced that she may be planning an escape. As the town's financial crisis deepens and anger over her leadership reaches a boiling point, Henyard has been avoiding calls, skipping meetings, and staying absent from her office, further fueling suspicions about her intentions. Amid Dalton's financial turmoil, her increasingly elusive behavior has raised questions about whether she is preparing to make a dramatic exit or simply executing another bold power play. To understand the scale of discontent surrounding Henyard, it's important to reflect on her controversial tenure, which has been riddled with scandal and financial mismanagement since she took office in 2021. Her time as mayor has been marked by a series of high-profile controversies that have eroded public trust. One of the most damaging issues has been her handling of Dalton's finances, a tale of mismanagement and questionable priorities that has pushed the town to the brink of collapse. What was once a modest surplus in Dalton's general fund has spiraled into a staggering $3.65 million deficit, with Henyard's leadership and decision-making squarely in the crosshairs of critics. Her administration has been accused of extravagant spending sprees and misallocated resources, often prioritizing personal ambition over the needs of the public. This rapid descent into financial chaos has left Dalton in disarray, with residents now grappling with the fallout. Henyard's leadership has been characterized by lavish events that drained critical funds, and alleged instances of prioritizing personal connections over the town's most urgent needs. These decisions have sparked widespread frustration, with residents questioning whether Henyard is truly invested in Dalton's future or merely using her position for selfing purposes. Her pattern of evasiveness, dodging public meetings, avoiding accountability, and now seemingly vanishing altogether has only worsened the situation. As pressure mounts for answers and action, Henyard's continued absence and refusal to engage have left citizens feeling abandoned. Despite the growing crisis, she has remained conspicuously absent, deepening the perception that her leadership is not only ineffective but actively harmful to the community. As Dalton's financial struggles reach a tipping point, residents are demanding clarity on where their tax dollars have gone and how Henyard plans to address the mess she has overseen. Each unanswered question and unfulfilled promise only strengthens the belief that Henyard is either incapable of reversing the damage or unwilling to try. The town's crisis is undeniable, and with Henyard seemingly in hiding, the community is left to wonder what comes next. Whether Henyard is plotting her exit or preparing for another strategic move to deflect responsibility remains uncertain. What is clear, however, is that the urgency to confront Dalton's challenges is growing. The town has entered one of its darkest chapters, and residents are left wondering if their leader will finally emerge to face the music or if this game of hide and seek will leave Dalton with a leadership void it cannot afford.
It's shameful. Y'all are a disgrace.
We're watching the fall of this administration.
Residents of Thorne Township are outraged after a costly and poorly executed event organized by Mayor Tiffany Henyard pushed the already financially struggling town further into debt. Despite a clear veto from the town's trustees rejecting her request for funding, Henyard went ahead with the 85,000 Taste of Thorne Township celebration, which featured R&B singer Kai Wyatt and rapper Jay Holiday. Both performers were reportedly paid exorbitant fees, with Wyatt receiving $30,000 for a 30-minute performance and Holiday earning a staggering $220,000 for the same length of time. What was originally promoted as a community celebration turned into a glaring example of wasteful spending. The event saw poor attendance, leaving frustrated residents who are already grappling with neglected public services and failing infrastructure. Thorne Township has long struggled with crumbling roads, underfunded services, and rising municipal debt, but these pressing issues were overlooked in favor of a lavish event that few seemed interested in attending. The fallout from the event has only deepened concerns about Henyard's financial management. Recent investigations and public records have uncovered a troubling pattern of wasteful expenditures, including taxpayer dollars spent on luxury hotels, first-class flights, extravagant meals, and even private security details under the guise of official business trips to cities like New York, Atlanta, and Portland. One of the most glaring examples occurred during a stay at the Four Seasons Hotel in Atlanta, where Henyard reportedly racked up nearly $10,000 in expenses for a trip that brought no tangible benefits to Thorne Township or its residents. The lack of accountability surrounding these lavish expenditures has left many questioning how such spending can be justified when basic services are in disarray and residents are struggling. Henyard's actions are increasingly seen as out of touch with the realities her constituents face, as she continues to prioritize personal luxuries over addressing the town's most urgent needs. The backlash from the Taste of Thorne Township debacle and Henyard's high spending habits reflect a growing frustration with her leadership. Residents are demanding greater transparency and accountability as they deal with deteriorating infrastructure, poor services, and mounting debt. With Henyard refusing to adjust her fiscal approach to meet the community's needs, her leadership is increasingly viewed as a significant barrier to Thorne Township's future progress. Calls for substantial change and more responsible governance are growing louder as the town's financial situation continues to worsen.
Finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Even more troubling than the extravagant spending on public events is Mayor Tiffany Henyard's alleged misuse of Dalton's finances, treating them as her personal piggy bank. This has sparked widespread outrage and disbelief among residents. A deep dive into the town's financial records has uncovered shocking figures, including a jaw-dropping $43,000 spent on Amazon in a single-day purchases that remain unexplained despite mounting calls for accountability. Henyard's response to these revelations has been anything but transparent. She has refused to release financial reports, ignored trustee requests for clarification, and actively taken steps to obscure her financial dealings. Local trustees have made multiple attempts to rein in Henyard's spending, but each effort has been met with fierce resistance. Over the past few months, they've imposed spending limits, revoked her access to town credit cards, and even sought a federal investigation into her actions. Yet these efforts have been consistently obstructed. For example, when trustees proposed hiring former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot to lead an independent investigation into Henyard's financial practices, Henyard vetoed the move, calling it an unconstitutional overreach. Her consistent use of veto power has blocked every attempt to hold her accountable, deepening the rift between her and the town's governing board. The trustees' frustration has reached a boiling point, with their attempts to assert fiscal control thwarted by cancelled meetings, stalled budget proposals, and unanswered inquiries. This has given the impression that Henyard is operating with impunity. Even former supporters have turned into vocal critics, publicly calling for her resignation. The lack of transparency and accountability has left residents growing more disillusioned with her leadership. Dalton's financial state is deteriorating rapidly under Henyard's tenure, with services being cut, employees facing layoffs, and the real possibility that the town may fail to meet payroll in the coming weeks. This dire situation contrasts sharply with Henyard's lavish spending habits, which have fueled growing unrest among residents. While the town grapples with crumbling infrastructure, Henyard continues to live in apparent luxury, further inflaming public anger. Outrage has spilled over into heated protests and emotional town hall meetings, where citizens demand answers. Social media is flooded with calls for Henyard to step down, and even those who once remained passive observers are now voicing their discontent. Residents are particularly frustrated by her evasiveness, as trustees struggle with incomplete or baffling budget details and receive no direct answers to their inquiries. Meanwhile, Dalton's financial health continues to decline, and trustees are working tirelessly to draft alternative budgets in an attempt to stabilize the town. However, without Henyard's cooperation, these efforts face serious roadblocks. Residents are already feeling the impact of the financial crisis as critical services are cut and infrastructure continues to deteriorate. Many fear that without meaningful intervention, Dalton's financial woes will spiral out of control, potentially leaving the town in irreversible decline. Yet Henyard remains seemingly undeterred, continuing to operate in a bubble of extravagance, disconnected from the harsh realities faced by her constituents. One incident that further highlighted Henyard's disregard for municipal protocol came when she made an abrupt decision that left board members questioning the legality of her actions. This growing disconnect between her financial choices and the town's worsening struggles has sparked an outcry from trustees, residents, and even former supporters. The mounting pressure is clear. People are demanding sweeping changes, and Henyard's long-standing tactics of evasion and resistance may no longer shield her from accountability. As one resident succinctly put it during a recent meeting, "We're tired of excuses. While she's living it up, we're left picking up the pieces." The trust that Henyard once had has evaporated amid revelations of her extravagant spending and refusal to adhere to basic principles of transparency and good governance. Dalton now stands at a crossroads, mired in financial chaos, with services crumbling and residents bearing the consequences of years of mismanagement. Unless significant changes are made soon, the town risks sinking further into disrepair, a tragic fate for a community that deserves leadership focused on the public good, not personal success.
You should pay everybody. Is it the reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's.
Speculation is growing that Mayor Tiffany Henyard may be preparing to flee as scandals, investigations, and public outrage surrounding her leadership reach a boiling point. Henyard has been noticeably absent from public events, dodging meetings, and refusing to address questions about her financial activities and alleged misconduct. This behavior has led many to believe that she could be planning to leave before the situation worsens. With the FBI investigating her and multiple other legal challenges looming, such a move wouldn't be entirely unexpected. Henyard has already been linked to a series of legal battles, and rumors suggest she may be facing even more serious allegations of financial misconduct and corruption. One of her closest allies, Deputy Police Chief Ellis Lacey, was recently indicted on charges of bankruptcy fraud for concealing assets and income to avoid creditors. Although Lacey denies the charges, his legal troubles have only amplified the scrutiny on Henyard, leading many to wonder if she could be the next to face significant legal consequences. Adding fuel to the fire is Henyard's long history of eccentric and self-promotional behavior. Throughout her tenure, she has made headlines for oddities like attending meetings with a golden microphone and referring to herself as Super Mayor, a title she even used in taxpayer-funded promotional materials. Henyard has also been accused of using town resources to promote herself, with billboards, advertisements, and social media posts flaunting her lavish lifestyle, all while Dalton struggles with crumbling infrastructure and a deepening financial crisis. Perhaps one of the most controversial moments occurred during a town meeting when Henyard had a DJ play Rihanna's "Bitch Better Have My Money," a move widely criticized as tone-deaf and completely out of touch with the town's dire financial situation. Despite this, Henyard has managed to hold on to her position, frustrating residents and trustees alike, who are increasingly calling for her to be held accountable for her actions. Dalton's financial problems have worsened under Henyard's alleged mismanagement, and her refusal to provide any transparency about the town's finances has only fueled suspicions about what she may be hiding. Investigations have already uncovered discrepancies in town spending, and her attempts to block efforts for greater transparency have raised further alarms. One of the more audacious moves came when she vetoed a proposal to hire former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot to lead an independent investigation into her financial practices, calling the proposal unconstitutional. Critics saw this as yet another attempt to avoid scrutiny. Henyard's leadership style has turned former allies into outspoken critics. Some trustees have openly called for her resignation, and frustration extends beyond the boardroom to the residents themselves. Public outrage has spilled over into town hall meetings and protests, with citizens demanding answers about where their tax dollars have gone and why their mayor continues to avoid responsibility. Social media is buzzing with calls for Henyard's removal, and the community has united in anger over how she's prioritized personal luxury over public service. Meanwhile, Dalton's financial state continues to deteriorate. Services are being cut, employees face layoffs, and the grim possibility looms that the town may soon be unable to meet payroll. The people of Dalton are feeling the consequences of these failures while Henyard remains seemingly disconnected, continuing to live in a bubble of excess and entitlement. As calls for accountability intensify, many are now wondering if Henyard is planning to escape the consequences of her actions. Her refusal to provide financial transparency, combined with her increasingly erratic behavior, has only fueled speculation. Some believe she's laying low, preparing for her next move, while others suspect she may already be making arrangements to leave Dalton altogether. Whatever her plans may be, one thing is clear: the people of Dalton are determined to hold her accountable. A growing movement to remove her from office is gaining momentum, and the days of unchecked authority for Henyard appear to be numbered. With investigations ongoing and new allegations continuing to surface, it seems inevitable that the truth will eventually catch up with her. Her connection to Lacey, who is facing multiple counts of bankruptcy fraud, along with the possibility of other undisclosed financial dealings, paints a bleak picture of her time in office. While Henyard has managed to maintain her position despite the mounting scandals, many believe her time is running out. The pressure is building, and the people of Dalton are ready to see justice served. The question remains, will Henyard face the music, or will she try to slip away once more? Only time will tell. Thank you for watching the news art.